Today I'm here to speak about myself, but also to kind of share with you my experiences, lessons learned, and mistakes, and to kind of give you an insight and hope that you can actually learn from this. So my background, I was born and raised in Hackney, East London, so I've kind of seen it from how people kind of perceive it as the ghetto to what is trendy now. My parents are from Ghana and they came here in the 70s. My parents have been so supportive of me going into fashion. Most of my relatives thought it was a bit crazy to allow, an African child to study fashion when they could be a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, accountant, or wherever. But my parents were incredibly supportive of me in my career. So I studied an FDA and BA in fashion marketing and promotion at LCF, and then I went on to do my master's in fashion entrepreneurship and innovation here as well. But before I did my MA, it was when I was doing my BA, I got to the end and then I had a job. I found a job to work in the marketing department for Tommy Hilfiger. But for some reason, I felt as if I wasn't ready to kind of go into industry. Just something wasn't really sitting right with me. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go in to do my MA. So luckily for me and fortunate enough, I received a scholarship from the university to go and study my MA. So you're probably wondering, okay, so what was my dream job if I didn't want to do marketing at Tommy Hilfiger? Well, my passion has always been education, and I've always had a huge interest in fashion. So I actually always wanted to be a fashion lecturer and to start a fashion education business. But people would always look at me with a kind of like, weirdly, why do you want to be a fashion lecturer? It doesn't make any sense. My actual lecturers also would kind of doubt me because I was never the smartest kid. I never got an A throughout my whole time of university. I was literally an average student receiving C's. When I would see a B, I'd be so ecstatic, like, Mom, Dad, look what I've got. But that didn't stop me because I knew that even though I wasn't the smartest in my class, I knew that I was the most hardworking in my class, so it never deterred me from actually trying to reach my full potential. So it brings me to my first point. What did I do to get to my position now, and what can you do? My first point is self-education. You need to try and find the right relevant experience. For me, it was hard. I couldn't go onto Google and then search fashion lecturing internship. It just doesn't exist. So I spoke to a lovely woman who's here, Terry Finnegan. She's literally been my university mum, that's what I called her. And she really helped me on my journey. So I got involved in a department called Widening Participation, and I worked there for about 2 years on short courses, helping out with workshops, doing admin stuff like even taking registers, helping to organise events, trips, doing the marketing, and so forth. That also helped me to do some learning facilitating at colleges around London. I also took part in being a course rep throughout my 4 years being in LCF, and I was also student ambassador too. What I also did was constant reading articles and books. I set myself daily goals to read I have a list of articles and websites that I need to reach each day to actually help me on my journey with self-education. And I constantly read books every month, so I have a list of books that I need to get through each month. And one important point on self-education is to find a mentor. I have 2 mentors, and for me, without my mentors, I don't know where I would be in my industry. As I mentioned, being a lecturer isn't something that you can kind of go and study for or anything like that. For me, I would go and shadow them and sit in their lectures and see how they would mark work, how they would interact with their students and so forth. And I learned so much by doing that. And also under self-education is to ask questions. I ask my students questions every session. Terry actually gave me this tip, is to give them a post-it note and to write something that they have learned, they're confident what they've learned in the session, but also something they haven't learned. And I always ask them, okay, so what would you like me to do even more? What is it that you feel as if you're struggling with or you want to learn more? And that really helps me. So my point is here, for anyone that wants to maybe start a business, always ask your customer what it is that they want. Maybe are the products and services working? If not, what is it that you can do to improve? So moving on to my next point is networking. Honestly, networking isn't something that just comes naturally, but it's an amazing tool. I honestly don't remember the last time I actually applied for a job through to traditional methods. And also, I forgot to mention, I have a business called Let's Talk Fashion Business, which is a fashion education resource centre. So from lecturing jobs to clients that I consult with and also collaborations for my business, they have all come through the power of networking. So speaking at events and approaching people, sending emails, connecting with people on LinkedIn and Instagram. LinkedIn and Instagram, I stalk people daily, constantly, my favourite platforms. I'm sure you do too. And I would just literally ask people that I knew who had connections with other people to put me in touch with those people. This has helped me really, tremendously on my journey, and I wouldn't be, as I mentioned, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Networking, again, isn't a natural thing for many of us, but I was literally forced to jump out of my comfort zone to communicate with people. At times, I would literally close my eyes and just press that send on the email, and I would also just stop, because I think what kind of prevented me from speaking to people was thinking about it constantly, and that would kind of set me back from actually wanting to go and talk to them, because I'd get too worked up and too scared. This comes to my next point, which is confidence. Where do I begin? Honestly, I lost all my confidence when I was pregnant and had my daughter. I actually got pregnant whilst I was on my master's, so it was a big challenge for me to be able to complete a master's, do a dissertation, and then have a baby as well. It was really hard. And it was summer, it was hot. 2015 was a hot summer. It was too much. I'm on the Central Line, people don't want to get up to give me a seat on the train, even with the baby on board badge. It was too much. I would say, honestly, up until maybe about 6-7 months ago, that's when I gained my confidence back. It's been a huge journey, and my daughter's almost 2. But how I kind of got my confidence was forcing myself to be confident. I literally would force myself, and being thankful for all that I achieved. So I would always just kind of, me and my husband would sit down and think, okay, what have we done to this date that we can actually be grateful for? And that always constantly reminds me that I've actually accomplished great things, and not to kind of just take them for granted. And one important thing as well is to not compare yourself to other people. I know social media kind of does maybe put us on a bit of an edge to kind of compare ourselves with other people that may be further along in their careers, and we're kind of at this point where we feel as if we're only just getting started. There's one video that I think you should also watch, which is called, it's a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy, and it's called Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are. Really good TED Talk. I've got a few more points. Personal branding. I used to roll my eyes at the thought of personal branding, to put yourself out there. It's something that doesn't come natural for me. I think I only just got my Instagram, a personal Instagram, just maybe about 3 months ago. But I've come to really understand the value of personal branding. When I got my first lecturing job, that was actually because someone found me online. And also when I was speaking to a friend of mine, she's a brand strategist, and in 2016 alone, 95% of her business came through Instagram. So it's really important to create a personal brand for yourself. And be ready. That's one thing, you always need to be prepared and ready in whatever it is that you go out to do. Last year, my husband was on BBC One's The Apprentice. I don't know if anyone watched it. And I remember the night before he went on, I said to him, Sam, create an elevator pitch, because I think that they're going to ask you, why do you want to be Lord Sugar's business partner? And he was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So we literally did it 12 a.m. And the next morning he went in, and I think they gave everyone, it was 7 people, they gave them numbers 1 to 7, and they asked them straight away, without introducing themselves, why do you want to be Lord Sugar's business partner? And because he had prepared the night before, apart from him, everyone else had to go home, and he was able to go through the next 4 stages, which enabled him to actually appear on the show last year. And don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. I remember when I was starting my business and starting my lecturing career, I had a few universities that I wanted to approach to go and do some sessions there to kind of get a feel of things. And I remember sending an email to one specific university, and one lady actually said to me, no, we don't require your services here. I said, no, I'm not going to take that for an answer, because from speaking to students at the university, I know that what I have to offer is something that they want. So I got in touch with a more senior person in the department, and the next week I was actually in that university delivering workshops. And it brings me to my final point. Always remember why you started. As I mentioned, my passion for education and fashion was more than just something I wanted to do just because I wanted to make a point. It's something that is so passionate and it means so much to me. I get really emotional over it. I want to share a statistic from The Independent that was carried out in 2015. To date in 2015, there were only 17 black female professors in the entire education system. And to me, I just feel like that's unacceptable and that it just doesn't make any sense. And I was frustrated that people would leave university with the lack of entrepreneurial skills. They would have no idea on how to protect their businesses legally or how to even understanding what a cash flow is, or even how to market their brand, and all people just having a CV that just reads well. And for me, it just didn't make sense that people could leave university and have no knowledge on how to do these things. So for me, every morning when I would feel like tired and just frustrated and down and things like this, I just always remember these statistics and also the people that are actually struggling. And it's because of these people that it drives me to continue with my business and also to continue supporting my students to essentially become entrepreneurs and amazing industry professionals. So the journey hasn't been easy. When people say you can't do something, don't accept can't shouldn't be in your vocabulary. What I have to say is that you just have to work 2 times harder than everyone else around you. But thank you so much for coming down. Thank you for listening.